By next month, it will be exactly 12 months since the tsunami hit the coastline of Aitape. As the resettlement of the displaced continue, experts are still working on what really happened on the evening of July 17, 1998. There are two most likely causes, as explained by Professor Hough Davies of the Geology Department of the University of Papua New Guinea.
The cause of this particular tsunami, we still do not know. We are confident it was triggered by the earthquake. But was it triggered by the earthquake alone, meaning that there was some movement of the seafloor which then caused the water to rise, which then caused it to bounce out towards the coast and towards Manus? Or was it a shaking that caused a landslide on the seafloor that displaced the water column and again caused the water to rise and then to move out? Or was it possibly a gas explosion? There are some lines of evidence that suggest the shaking might in turn have triggered the explosive release of gas, and that's thought to be a possible mechanism to cause a tsunami.
As we try to work out what happened, we are vulnerable to what's ahead. All coastal communities of Papua New Guinea are at risk from tsunami waves. It is greatest where there are volcanoes and earthquakes. Such are the areas of the New Guinea Islands, Bougainville, and the north coast of the mainland. There are no textbook precautionary measures to be taken in tsunamis. Common sense is required more than anything else.
The issue of warning is a tough one. We know that all of the damaging tsunamis that we know of in PNG's history were generated in PNG waters. They weren't generated by major earthquakes in Alaska or South America. They were generated locally, which means that if it's a local earthquake, you might only have 10, 20 or 30 minutes between the earthquake and the arrival of the wave. So we would need a very sophisticated monitoring system, and we would need a very effective communication system, neither of which we have at present. We can't predict the earthquake. We don't yet have the ability to predict earthquakes. So at present it's unrealistic to say that we or government or anyone can warn people ahead of a tsunami. So that the other tack that we're taking is to inform people so that they can make the judgment. Much as people did in Rabaul, they made the judgment to evacuate when they saw the warning signs. People on the coast, when they see the warning signs of a tsunami, will know to move out.
Aitape was one of many tsunamis to strike the coasts of Papua New Guinea. There are recorded deaths and destruction on the right coast of Madang in the mid-1950s, New Britain and Siasi Islands in 1888, the Buna Coast in Oro in 1895, Gasmata in West New Britain in 1906, and Bogea and Ninigo Islands in Madang in the 1930s. Indonesia has a similar history. The biggest was in 1883 when Krakatau volcano erupted explosively and collapsed. More recently and closer to home, tsunamis have taken lives in southeastern Java as recent as 1994 and at Biak Island in Irian Jaya in 1996. Tsunamis occur all around the Pacific Rim, wherever there are earthquakes or volcanoes. Perhaps worst affected of all the Pacific countries is Japan, and for this reason, Japan leads the world in tsunami research and in building protection from tsunamis for its ports and coastal cities. Other countries that have suffered major tsunamis in recent years are Alaska, Hawaii, Central America, and Chile. Tsunamis are caused by movement of the seafloor. This can be the uplift of part of the seafloor by movement on a fault, a submarine volcanic eruption, or the collapse or landsliding of a submarine slope. When the seafloor moves, the entire water column is displaced and waves are formed. In deep water, the waves are long in length and low altitude and travel with the speed of a jet plane. Because the waves in deep water are so small, they do not affect shipping and will pass beneath a canoe unnoticed. However, when the waves reach shallow water, they slow down. The wavelength is shortened and becomes higher. If the waves flow across a shallow shoreline, they may crest and break, as was the case at Cesano. If the waves approach a deep, steep shoreline, they may appear simply as an unusually extreme rising and falling of the tide.
When you look at our coastline, many people live only a metre above sea level. Any of those areas, we should be putting in drills that are mock evacuation